Hey guys, you are tuned back into the SoulSense podcast. I am Kim and I'm the hostess with the mostest, of course. And we have your trusty wingman, Melvin, here.
Hello.
And we are back for another one, and another one, and another one. A. So let's get right into it, Melly.
Okay.
Okay, so tonight, because it's the nighttime, let's talk about hair. And I know this sounds real weird. Like, this is the Soul Sense podcast. We talk about Christian based things. What does hair have to do with it? But it has a lot to do with it. And, I know we don't have all African American listeners. Um, so we can talk about this a bit and also, talk about my discovery through my natural hair journey and what really convicted me truly with
Right.
it.
Yeah. I mean, in a nutshell, just the idea of when Kimberly decided to go natural, we're just going to kind of talk back and forth about it. She decided to go natural and kind of my thoughts on it
Mm,
and um, how we kind of came about that. I think some background for me, I didn't grow up, or, I had a lot of girl cousins, but of course we moved and were kind of away from everybody from,
mm,
that. So basically, my only reference point was my mom and my
mm-hmm.
grandma, who both have like pretty fine grades of hair, and I mean they just
The
always have
texture's
right.
fine or
They've always
coarse. You mean fine versus
fine,
okay.
yeah, and they just always have had the same haircuts. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
big deal.
Yeah.
For me, hair was a big deal, only because I've got like a curly grade of hair,
Yeah.
and it seemed like anytime I wanted to do anything that was like anybody else was doing with their hair, I had to go through a bunch of like steps. Like if I wanted to get a flat top, I had to be like, please let me cut it, mom. Let me cut it. One time I dyed my hair blonde and it was the end of the world. Lasted
Well,
about
first
24
off, you're
hours.
gonna have to tell people, like, for people, if you don't follow us like on social media, then you probably don't know how Melvin looks. Though he is, I'll put it this way. When I was in college, my line sisters asked me what was his ethnicity because though he is of darker complexion,
I'm black.
he black. Yes, he is a black man. But at first glance, because he had long hair similar to what he has now, he just recently grew it all out. Because, like, literally, we're sitting here both with ponytails in our hair. Both of us have ponytails right now. But, like, he has not what you would think black hair looks like. It's very fine. It's thick, but the texture is fine. It's curly. It's I mean, all he got to do is put water on it and it just curl right up. Me on the other hand, I need all the products that you can give me. Give me all the things, okay? But and he passed that down to our kids because I'm the one over here with the coarser hair. But it's all good in the hood. But you don't really look like you are, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's like ambiguous. You're racially ambiguous.
I am not.
Yes, you
I am
are.
not racially
Yes,
ambiguous.
you are
You're
racially
crazy.
ambiguous. The only thing on you is that you're dark skinned. That's it.
You're
Cause
crazy.
like your skin is real smooth. Like people, I there have definitely been people that have mistaken him as Dominican, Ethiopian. I would even say that you're what? How do you say it? Eritrean.
Eritrean,
Yes, like you
Eritrea.
look,
I don't know how you say it.
yeah, like you look
That's
like
all
that.
black.
I mean, yes, but you not like American, what we think of American black,
Right.
okay?
But all that goes to say is so that's my kind of relationship with hair and understanding of hair going into it. I met Kimberly. She had a perm,
Yep.
super duper long
Relaxer.
hair.
It wasn't super duper, it's longer now. It was average
It
long.
was long for anybody I knew. You've had long hair, and your family's had long. Your
Yeah.
sister got long hair,
Yeah.
aunt got long hair. But so the woman who I met and married had long hair.
No, straight. My mom did not know how to do hair. And growing up as a little black girl, everybody got relaxed. And I guess it's the time that we
Mm-hmm.
came through. You know how, like, with hairstyles, for people who don't know, but we'll just talk about it. Just like with anything else, you got trends. And so you had the afro trend. Well, you had different hair trends. You got Jerry curl. Well, I came through the trend where everybody was getting a perm, a
You
relaxer.
get it just for me.
No, my hair needed something stronger than just for me. I needed the lie. Okay. But anyways, so anywho, like, and then also growing up in a southern, and I hate to say this because these are my people, but it is true. You know, when you come from a smaller town, you kind of get trends. You kind of get trends like behind the curve. So like there I didn't even grow up seeing anybody with natural hairstyles unless they were biracial or something like that. They had like a certain grade of hair, but everybody that was like me, we all got perms. We all went to the beauty shop. We all got perms. I got a perm early on. I think my mom gave me my first perm at like Fair's age,
Mm-hmm.
6 or 7. I think it was 7 actually. So a year older than our oldest. And me, my sister, my mom, we went to the beauty shop all the time. And it was a lot of money, but my mom really didn't know how to do hair. So that was her way of keeping our hair manageable so she could comb it and maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
And so even going to college, if everybody we went to pretty much seemed to have like the hairstyle I had, straight perm.
Especially at the beginning, yeah.
I mean, weave has always been around. You had people that had like sew-ins and stuff like that. But for the most part, everybody rocked at least that straight wrap, that straight look, a
Mm-hmm.
Leah look, or maybe you had a roller set or something like that.
I don't know what all that is, but yeah, everybody
With
kind of
the
had the same,
curls, the big rollers
yeah,
and the curls, baby.
of different
And you
lengths.
wrap your hair up. You know about wrapping hair up because you
Yeah,
done wrap my hair
I
up.
did have. So let me ask you, what sparked this? Because this one day you just came in and was
Yeah,
like, I'm thinking about going natural, and the next thing I know, you just watching a bunch of videos
yeah.
and doing a bunch of research. What sparked this?
Well, before we even got married, like in college and when we were dating seriously and I started with thinking about us having kids, I wanted to at least not perm their hair. At least start out and not perm. I knew I didn't want to perm their hair as early as my mom did. I was going to at least have my hand at it. And then also because my sister lived in Atlanta, that's like Black Mecca. So you got lots of different hairstylists down there. So I knew there were people out there that could do a plethora of different types of hair, not just perming and doing sew-ins and stuff. So I knew that if we lived in an area that would support it, that we didn't necessarily have to. So I had already committed before we even got married that like I'm not gonna perm my kids' hair until they tell me that they want to do it.
Hmm.
Well, it did not come in true effect until we actually had our first child. And I was permed up until she was born January 2013. I got my last perm September 2013. And really, what was the thing that kicked me over? It was a 2 point thing. For one, I never went like typically, and you probably don't know this because you ain't a woman that get permed. But typically, when you get a perm, you get it every 6 weeks. You got to go and get what we call a retouch
Uh-huh.
every 6 weeks. Well, because of the my type of hair, my hair would go a lot long. I could go longer than 6 weeks, and this is even when I lived in my parents' house. Plus, I didn't like going to the beauty shop, and I didn't like sitting under the dryer because my hair is very thick. It would take me a long time. All the women out there know exactly what I'm talking about. So I would try to stretch my hair out as long as possible. So there would be sometimes I wouldn't even go back in there to like 12 weeks, and it still would look good anywhere between like 8 to 10. I could do a good 8 to 10, and then by the time I got past 10 weeks, my new growth was out of hand, and I needed to get back in there or
Hmm.
whatever. And so that's what every 3 months. So I was only getting like 4 perms. And then when I went to Atlanta, I moved to Atlanta right after college. They have a lot of Dominican salons down there that do blowouts, natural blowouts. So when I got that done, when I lived in Atlanta, I only got 2 perms living in Atlanta, just two. And I would go every 2 weeks and get my hair washed and blown out by the Dominicans. And it was like a whole, and it would be a whole, they had like 30 stations in there. And women know about those. They didn't have them in Tennessee, but they were very popular in Atlanta. They got them here in Dallas. It's just one of the things that they do as part of what they do.
Hmm.
And they would get your hair as straight as a perm would, and it would be half the cost. Like I could go in for $35 where I'm paying over $100 for a perm.
Uh-huh.
And so after going down there and seeing how my hair got really healthy without putting the product on, when we moved, that's when I really started considering it. And then when we had Farrah, I had went so long without a perm and my hair still looked good. And when I got that last perm, when she was about 8, 9 months, I was like, I really don't even need this perm. And then at that point, her hair was starting to get her true texture. Cause babies start out and they got that baby hair.
Hmm.
And then and then it turns. You
Hmm.
start to see, okay, I'm starting to see the true texture coming out. Well, it was around that time, all that was around the time where I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to make a decision. And I didn't want to be experimenting. I knew nothing about natural hair care. I didn't want to be experimenting on her head. I knew that you put hair products on your hair. And if I did it, I figured that whatever worked for me and you
Work for
would
her.
work for our kids.
Hmm.
And so that's really where it started.
So I remember you coming in, and because there was the time of with you just doing the research, and
Mm-hmm.
then you came in and you had a couple of, it was like, I'm doing this,
Yeah.
and there was some options, that
Mm-hmm.
was the big chop, and
Yeah.
then yeah, I know these terms now, and then there was gonna be just,
Transitioning.
yeah. And what was the difference? A big chop, I know that's self-explanatory. You just chop it all down to where there's no more
Perm.
perm.
Yeah.
And then the other one is just letting it grow
Yeah.
and
You
cutting away the
just
perm
cutting it
slowly but
just
surely.
slowly. So, um, for me, when I'll be honest, the big chop was scared the mess out of me.
Hmm.
It just scared the mess out of me because you, some women, if they're fresh off a perm, they don't really have a lot of new growth and they just shave their head off and they just have like a low cut. Some women wait till the new growth grows a little bit and they got like a little small fro. That's what the big chop would be. And it scared me. And I had to really address that because I realized in that moment I had such an attachment to my hair. Like
Yeah.
my hair was a big part of who I was.
Hmm.
And I kind of put it on the shelf. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, at least I'm doing this natural thing because it was so foreign to everybody at the time that, like, my family, nobody was natural other than my Aunt Pat,
Hmm.
and she's like one of the Afrocentric people, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it made sense for her, but everybody else, it's like all the rest of us get perms, though. And my parents, like they didn't understand it because, like, again, I come from a small town. There wasn't you don't know what you don't know.
You know what? That kind of makes you think about just even other people's relationship to your hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
To like I said, as a kid having, just a different type of hair, um, I do, it was always a big deal if I did something, or if I, it I don't know, it just was always a big deal, maybe a bigger deal to other people than it was for me. I remember when you first made that decision, um, kind of experiencing some of that with you, like other people's opinions, but I don't want
Yeah.
to jump too far ahead.
Yeah.
So you end up cutting your hair.
No. I transitioned, so meaning that I let my hair grow
But
out
you did cut a
naturally.
bunch of it though.
No, let me tell it, okay? I let my hair grow out for 22 months before I did what I call a mini chop.
Uh-huh.
Because so what I did was I just let my hair grow, and I did what we called like protective stylings, where I would do like twist outs and braid outs, and you would braid my hair. Sidebar: Melvin learned how to braid hair in preparation for what was about to go down. But so he would do like goddess braids on me and stuff like that, cuz I can't do flat braids. I can't I can't do it on my hair. I can't do it on my girl's hair. So when it comes to like cornrows and stuff like that, Melvin learned and taught himself how to really do that and do it well. He kind of knew he knew the technique, but he really got good at it by doing my hair and then eventually our oldest hair. But for 22 months, I just would just get small like inches taken off here and there.
Yeah.
It wasn't nothing big or drastic. And then after, I always told myself when the texture was 50% relaxed, 50%, 40 to 50% natural, I was going to cut it off, because it got to a point where it was just hard to maintain,
Uh-huh.
because literally you got your curly hair at the top and it looks bushy, and then you got your straight hair at the bottom and you feel like your hair is nappy, but it really isn't, because those ends are like not allowing the curls to do what they want to do. They're kind
Uh-huh.
of like dead weight.
Uh-huh.
So the moment that I did do the mini chop, I went to a natural hairstylist in Dallas, and she cut it off, and she flat twisted me back and everything like that. When I took it down the next day, it was a shock for me, because though I had gone almost 2 years with growing my hair out,
Uh-huh.
and it was the shortest I had ever seen my hair,
Yeah, it was short.
ever. And I remember like that first taking it down, it was cute because it had the curl, because she had
Yeah.
twisted it for me and it was cute. And I ended up like doing my makeup real, because it was a Saturday. We went to church that next day. So
Yeah.
I made sure that I had my face looking good, had me some earrings, had a nice outfit, because I had to make myself feel good. I really did.
I remember, so rewind just a little bit. How was my reaction to the whole idea?
Okay. I think overall, like as I have been in the natural hair community, you handled it a lot better than a lot of people. You did. You handled it well. I would have to say you handled it well.
I
You
remember I just was like, look, I'm not a big fan of, like, you're just gonna have to take care of it.
yeah.
And, there's a certain look that I'm just not for.
Yeah.
Um,
And we had people in our lives. And I told you this. I was like, because I had been looking online on YouTube and stuff, and I knew that there were hairstyles that if were kept up and I learned the technique, I knew you were going to like it. But I was like, you can't go off of like people that you see walking around on the street.
right. Well, ultimately, what I started to, as this whole thing went on, and especially once you cut your hair,
Mhm.
I felt like you felt free. After a little bit, like
Yeah,
I
it took
think
an
after you
adjustment.
started getting, figuring out how you want to style it and
Mhm.
whatever else, if it seemed like you, I don't know, like you started to accept like your natural beauty, and because my thing, man, I'm not a big fan of a bunch of makeup and all that kind of stuff, but I think I became even more accepting and a fan of it as I saw your confidence level grow. And I feel like I don't know, it just turned on another aspect of your personality that I don't think I had seen before.
Yeah.
Just you always been confident, but
Mhm.
like a different type of
Yeah.
confidence and an unapologetic
Yeah.
confidence.
Well, I'll tell you really what like switched it for me. Around this time, a good friends of ours, their daughter was in high school, and she was kind of studying the Bible, and they had called me in because I had a relationship with her to kind of like help study with her. And something that was brought up in her study was just like most teen girls, most teens, just insecurity and not liking things about yourself. This is a gorgeous girl, like gorgeous. And she had some bad insecurities. And so, of course, I shared with her some scriptures. And as I'm reading these scriptures to her, I get convicted, honestly. And I got them here. And these are scriptures that we know well. Psalm 139:14 through 16. And I'm going to read the NLT version. So it's going to be slightly different. But this is the scripture that talks about you're fearfully and wonderfully made. This is the NLT version. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. And then also I had shared Luke chapter 12:7. And the very hairs on your head are numbered. So don't be afraid. You are more valuable to God than a whole flock of sparrows. So I'm sharing these scriptures with this teenage girl, trying to get her to embrace how God made her. And as I'm saying this, literally the thought pops in my head, well, you don't accept the hair that sprouts from your head, Kim.
Yeah.
And so I had to start, and that's where it really clicked, and that's when it started, because I felt like, hey, I needed to be practicing what I preach. I'm up here trying to get this girl to love herself and accept herself, and I'm sitting up here, a grown woman, attached to something in my mind as simple as hair.
Right.
And so I started to like really be like, okay, if you're gonna do this, you about to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it started. So after the hair was cut and I still had the style from the salon, it was good, but then it came time for wash day. And that style was gonna be washed out. So
Mm-hmm.
what are you gonna do now? And I tried to recreate it. And I ain't gonna even lie. I woke up looking like Don King. Like I was like, I look so ugly. I was like, I'm so ugly. And I was so excited with that little twist out. And I got up the next morning and I started taking my hair down. And I was like, I feel ugly. And I was like, this ain't it and that ain't that. And so I think what I ended up, I think it was on a Sunday. It was on a Sunday because you had already gone to church.
So I wasn't even there.
I was like, I can't go to church ugly like this. And then I was like, maybe I shouldn't go to church until I figure something out. And I ended up like, I don't know, I think I did like a ponytail or I did some, I went on YouTube right quick and I looked up like what to do when you kind of in that in between phase
Uh-huh.
because my hair wasn't short enough to just kind of like get wet and just let it go, but it wasn't long enough to really let the style like you had to be skilled to know how to do it. So
Uh-huh.
after that, I really made it my business during the week to like really perfect a style. And so what I ended up coming up with is the style that I call my signature style now, and that's the wash and go because it
Mm-hmm.
was perfect for that hair length.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where it started. And so when I started and I would practice and it got better and it got better and I got confident. And so I started to do other stuff. And then before you know it, the hair was sprouting out and I was confident with just picking my fro out. Like I remember us going to a cookout, a 4th of July cookout, and I had just picked my fro out and just let the wind go through it.
So I
I
remember,
was ugly, man.
I don't remember that, but I remember there were two things point out in my mind early on.
I
Early
just
on.
laughing. I look like I look like I was ugly, y'all.
Two things jump out to my like that they really stand out to me early on. It was a situation where like you were number one, you were very defensive about
Yeah.
anybody's like
That's
you
how I
were
am anyway though.
yeah, but exactly. But you was ready to go.
Yeah.
Like
TTG.
anybody got something to say about my hair, you know,
Train to go.
and I know like when you went home for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
everybody, your beautiful hair. Why did you? And I remember you having some issues there. And
Yeah.
then I remember at church, uh, somebody like said, "Hey, are you gonna do something with your hair?" Uh,
That was when I was transitioning. So I was,
oh, you hadn't cut it yet.
I hadn't cut it yet at that point.
Oh yeah, I remember that, man. And I was
I was
like,
still trying to
you
figure
came
out
to me
style.
crying.
Yeah, it
I
hurt my
just was
feelings.
like, so, gosh, yeah, I remember that. Now, one thing I will say is the benefit I thought about this was, hey, we're gonna save some money. So you fellas out there that have a significant other that may be going into this, don't believe the hype. I'm thinking, hey, we're gonna save some money. No more perms. And I had to, and I'm cheap, man. And I'm not cheap when it comes
Are you
to,
che-
especially back then.
Okay, back then, but let's not. When it comes to hair products, we'll talk about that soon.
Well, no, but
We'll,
yeah.
we'll talk
Well,
about
listen.
that.
So anyway, I'm cheap, and I had to mentally prepare myself because she was coming in with like
Bags.
bags and bags. And this stuff is not cheap. Now, I didn't really know at the time how expensive it was. I just knew, hey, it's a lot of stuff in this bag, and you already got a lot of stuff in there. Well, that stuff doesn't work for me. And I'm like, man, but I just had to pull back and just and this was one of those times I feel like we grew kind of in our relationship because I had to understand this was your thing and I had to be supportive of it and yeah, just be supportive of it.
Yeah.
Even if I did not understand it at all, but I did understand how it was making you feel and the confidence that I felt like it was instilling in our daughter,
Mm.
even, years after the initial uh, cut.
Mm-hmm.
As time went by, I think that decision really allowed you to come to our daughter in a certain place to talk about her natural beauty while you
Mm-hmm.
were at the same time embracing your natural beauty. So it definitely that was a an adjustment for me.
Yeah. And that was a driving factor as well. Like the first when it comes to kids, and if we had a son, his first hero would be you. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And because I am a woman and I have daughters, like when it came to stuff like that, I knew the first person they were going to look at was me.
Hmm.
And if I knew that I wasn't going to be perming their hair and they looked at me, because for a little girl, the first person you think is pretty is your mom. And I mean, I guess that's for any kid. You think your mom is pretty. Little boys want to marry their mom, and little girls want to be their mom.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, when she starts to think about what is beautiful, she's going to look to me. And if I'm up here with this long, silky hair, but I won't let her get long, silky hair, then that's going to cause a conflict. And so that was like where it started. But then when I actually started to embrace the fact that like this is so much, because I remember even telling you like, well, I'm not gonna do like the actual natural hairstyles. Like I'm probably just gonna grow the perm out and then I'm just gonna probably just get my hair straightened.
Hmm.
And that's probably it. But as I went on and I started seeing how healthy my hair was becoming and how fast it was growing, I'm like, I don't want to put heat on it because then it's gonna like burn it,
Hmm.
it's gonna singe it, and I'm gonna have heat damage and all this stuff, and so when it came to the products, I had to find my way with that as well. And I tried to alleviate it because at the time they don't do this anymore, but Walgreens and CVS used to do that buy one, get one. They don't do that anymore. Well, shea products and so, shea moisture products. And so I could go in there and I could test out stuff, like buying one and getting one free. And so, and I stayed clear of like your Miss Jessie's and curls and stuff like that because they were more expensive. But the most expensive I went was Shea Moisture. And then I think I might have did As I Am, but that didn't work for me or anything like that. But it was a process. But now I know what I like and I like what I like. And you're actually the one with the bougie taste.
No, see, now this is messed up because you'll come in and for a while there, I was using the just whatever was in there. You
That's
know what
what
I
you
mean?
supposed to use. You supposed to use whatever under
Why I
there.
can't be luxurious?
No, because you a man. Okay, I
That don't
gotta
matter.
no base. You want to know why?
Why?
Because all you have to do is put water on your hair and it curls up. I can't do those things. Okay, I need my products.
So this is how I found out how expensive this stuff was. Now this is years later, right?
Made me
And
mad.
and I started growing my hair out by accident, actually.
He
Uh,
grow his hair out like twice a year.
and this
Like
time it just kind of went outrageous. But anyway, I'm putting this stuff in my hair, and what was it called?
y'all, I walk into our bathroom and I smell like lemon. Is that is that my meringue? Is that my Miss Jessie's meringue? What this bottle with? Who be using this? And you like, oh, that stuff make my hair feel good. One does not touch the meringue. Okay, one does not touch the Miss Jessie's. That bottle was $22.
And I did not know that bottle. I ain't never bought a 22 bottle of nothing that was not alcoholic in my entire life. And you had, but
But
my
I
point
had a
was,
fit too, y'all, because he used so much
that
of that product. He used so much. And he was like, oh, yeah, this stuff does good on my head. Y'all, God himself came down right then and there because I was like, bruh, you gonna have to square up with me because like, like y'all gonna need to get a piece of you. Cause this right here, cause this is that product, y'all, that I put in the back, and it is my product for anyone who's natural out there. You know, you got a product that's good for your washing glows, you got a product that's good for your twist outs. This is a perfect product for my twist out. And I don't do twist outs all the time. I have seasonal hairstyles. I put it in the back. So that meant that you had to get down and reach all the way to the back. What your grandmama say? He reached all the way to the back.
let me
To not
tell
only get my meringue, my curly meringue, you also got the leave-in condition.
but look, because one time I think you left it out or something, and I
I
used
ain't
it.
leave it there.
No, because that's how I used it the first time, and I said, oh man, look at these curls, boy. And then I just started using it, but I didn't know. I just thought it was hair stuff. And you came
Mm-mm.
back there, and I was
Why it
like,
smell like lemon meringue back here?
I don't even think I was in the bathroom. I think you came and got me while I was somewhere else. I was like, hold up. And then I just like, nah, look, I'm using this too. And so now she still be trying to hide the good stuff from me.
No, this is what I do because you know what? I'm a good wife. I'm a good wife. I used to be selfish, but God delivered me. And so what I did that next day, I went out to
Nah,
Target.
it wasn't no
No,
next
no,
day.
yes, I
It took
did.
a little minute for you to
No,
no no no. You
no.
came back with something that was subpar. You came back with something. I ain't gonna
I
say
bought.
the name of the thing.
I said
No, no, yeah, no, no, we ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna say the name of it.
it wasn't subpar. It would have worked fine for your
Well, I
hair.
want what you got. I
Your hair ain't like mine.
don't be coming in here with that.
No,
No,
your hair
no
ain't like
less.
mine.
No, I want to get the same thing you get. Don't
You
come in
just
here
need
with that
water.
unless.
That's what you
No,
need.
well, I want what you got.
Well, he could have got the cheaper something, and when I brought it into him, I went out and I bought him his own products. Okay, if you want your curls to be luxurious, I'm gonna get you something that's gonna make it luxurious. This fool scoffed at me. Talking about some, why I can't get the good stuff. I'm like,
I mean,
because you
why?
don't need the good stuff.
Why I can't get no Miss Jessie's?
Well, I then went out, went to Target. I bought him his own curly meringue and leave-in condition and my own set.
You know
And I
what?
told you, this is yours, this is
Nah,
mine.
before that, it was. I don't know how everybody started finding out about this.
Because I blasted it on
Denidra,
Instagram.
Denidra came and there was some stuff that she couldn't use, and she gave me like 3 bottles of something or another. What was that? Some curl stuff.
It was Miss Jessie's, but it was like quick curls.
Mm,
And you liked it.
I did.
He prefers Miss Jessie's.
Yeah, I do. I
He
want what you
prefers
get.
Miss Jessie's. So when I go out and I have to buy hair products, y'all, for a whole family of people now. A whole family. And now, mind you, my husband and my daughters, if you just squirt their hair up, their curls just pop. They just pop. Me, on the other hand, my hair be like, that was a good little drink. What else you got for us? So even now, he bougie with his hair products, talking about you cheap. You bougie. That's what you are.
I don't buy them.
You bougie. That's all I gotta say. But anyways, but you done got me all up, hot and bothered up in here. I don't even know what I was about to say.
Long story short, this has been a journey with your hair, and I do. Um, at the end of the day, I am very glad that you made the decision, and I respected it, and I felt like because it was a crapshoot. You didn't know what your hair was gonna look
Yeah, I
like,
didn't know what my true texture was gonna be.
and it was. I thought it was brave, and I thought that it was, um, and that was. That was the conviction part of it for me, is I really had to think like, why am I, you know, why am I attached to this idea of her hair, and why would I not support anything that's going to make her embrace what God gave her? And I think that that is a legacy that we have in our community, and it's very difficult sometimes. And this is what the thing that I'm really glad about with our daughters is because everywhere we go, especially if we keep staying in our little town,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's we majority see faces that look like ours,
Mm-hmm.
but as you get out into the world, all we are reminded of, and it's getting better now, but especially in our us coming up, our natural the natural state of our hair has always been looked at as very negative. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's ingrained in us to be
Yeah.
Europeanized. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Straight hair is
Yeah.
good.
Our
Light
hair is
skin
not
is
good.
good.
It's nappy and all
Nappy hair,
those
right.
words that can come out.
Right. Good hair. Those type of
Mm-hmm.
things. And then even but and it hasn't gone away. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Even when we go today, when we go to there we go to a diverse church, and I know I get comments about my hair because when I'm at work, I'll pull it back in a ponytail sometimes, but you know I've gotten comments like when I finally pulled it back into a ponytail, oh, that's so much better instead of it being just
Mm-hmm.
free. um and I don't think people understand that, or they get the impact that that could have on
Mm-hmm.
people.
Yeah.
But
Because it's not just from people from other communities, it's people in our
oh, of
community as well. It
course,
comes from
yeah. I
everybody.
mean, even if in like an all black church, I think that if somebody come in with their haircut, if a girl come in and she go natural, everybody gonna be like, is she on drugs? Is she going crazy? Is she this is what old people say.
Yeah.
Like I won't say old, but this is what folks will say. Like,
A certain generation.
yeah, why would she cut her hair? And this is something that I really love about this time that we're in. Is it seems like people are really embracing their their Afrocentricity, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and not just like Afrocentricity, but they're being a Black American
Mm-hmm.
and really embracing our heritage and where we are, you know, what we have here and who we are as Black Americans. I That's kind of why I let my hair grow out even at work. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I don't have to. I can show people that my level of intelligence is not like you see somebody that looks like me out in the street, you're not going to be able to automatically ascribe a certain like level of intelligence or a certain level of ignorance or whatever it is
Mm-hmm.
because you know me. And I try to embrace my blackness at work. I
Mm-hmm.
do more to cover up my country accent than I do uh you know my like, is it a such thing as a black accent? I don't know.
I don't know.
But I'm glad that this is just kind of like a marker of kind of the trend of things now, and I hope that it's here to stay.
Yeah, and that's really where it ended up for me and where I'm at now because it started where it started. It developed into biblical conviction
Hmm.
because at first, because I really feel like had I not have gained a biblical, because really what it is self acceptance.
Hmm.
It's accepting who you are and loving who you are because God made you that way.
Hmm.
Like nothing about us is by mistake. How your nose is, how your body frame is, what your hair texture is, nothing about you is by mistake or coincidence. Like someone who God paid so much attention to you. It said that he knew you when you were in utter seclusion, when you were not even thought about. He already knew how you were going to look. He already had the plans up for you. And so you have to honor God by honoring yourself.
Right.
And I felt like, and at first, yeah, it was defensive. Like, how dare you say something about me?
Hmm.
You don't have no. That's really how I felt. Like, once I got done with my feelings being hurt, because really what that was insecurity. I was
Hmm.
still working through my insecurity. But then what ended up happening was it turned into anger. I ain't gonna be like, it just turned into anger. Like, you don't have no opinion about what's on my body. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like, worry about your own head. And that's really how I
Yeah.
was feeling. Like, and I even had a family member who was like, Melvin had mentioned, like, your beautiful hair and did it on, did it kind of in a public forum. And I was like, you know what? My hair what's wrong with what my natural hair is. This is how God made me. This is exactly what sprouts from my head.
Hmm.
That straight permed hair, that was not natural. That
Right.
was not who I was. And I've expressed this to you before, but it started as hair, but then it ended up like spreading out into other areas of my life.
Uh-huh.
The way that I dress, the way that I present myself to people, like it really made me start to think like, if you're like this with hair, what else do you try to quiet down and muffle to be like everybody else?
Right.
And so, it's nothing for me now to be in lime green. Like right now, I'm in a Tupac t-shirt. And I have worn this to church functions, and but I like it. You know what I'm saying? Like my thing is, I can wear a skirt and some tennis shoes and some sneakers. Like I'm a low key sneakerhead now, and it's like if I like it, like there's already this fundamental thing that I'm righteous. I'm gonna live my life righteous. I love God, so I'm gonna be striving for morality. That's
Hmm.
understood. So anything outside of that, it to me is a dispute. If you don't like that I wear polka dots every day, that's your problem. It's not mine.
Yeah. I think on top of that, I think that there is a so for me, I don't think that this is something that says, if you don't have if you got a perm, then you don't love what God gave you. I think quite the opposite. I think that you said it best. Like it started out a thing with your hair,
Yeah, it
but
started with
really
hair.
all that was the one of the symptoms
Mm-hmm.
of the real problem, which was you learning to love yourself and
Mm-hmm.
love what God had the what God had created.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a scripture that talks about like don't adorn yourself with jewelry and
Mm-hmm.
you know
Expensive clothes.
expensive
Mm-hmm.
clothes, and I don't think that it is. Uh, you know, when I think I don't think that's saying don't wear expensive clothes, don't wear jewelry, but I think it's this is not what adorns you. I you were born. I knit you in your mother's womb with all that adorns you.
Mm-hmm.
Like the beauty that I created is what adorns you.
Mm-hmm.
That is what signifies your worth to me. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Everything
Mm-hmm.
that I gave you is a little testament to how much you're worth to me and
Mm-hmm.
how much you should feel worth to yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you don't start from that, that's got to be your goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think as we look at little things that are kind of signifiers of that being an issue, whether it be I can't leave the house without makeup, or I need to have a perm, or I need to. What adorns me now is my natural me expressing my
Mm-hmm.
culture. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All these different things that we can use to adorn ourselves with, and they can all be examples of how we are insecure in what God has made, and we are out of touch with how beautifully and wonderfully made we are.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't get that part together, it doesn't matter if you chop your hair off, grow your hair long, uh, wear a bunch of makeup, wear no makeup, all of these different, listen to certain music or don't listen to certain music, all of those things, if you don't have that core understanding together that like exactly how you are made, your likes, your dislikes, all these things you were created with for a purpose, and you just got to find that purpose, how to use all these things for the purpose that God gave you. And until you get to that mindset, like you said, you're starting from a place of righteousness, and morality is always your goal. So
Mm-hmm.
you are concentrating on what God has in store for you, and
Mm-hmm.
has created you for. The other stuff is just
Fluff.
fluff.
It's just fluff.
So tomorrow you may decide, I think I want to go get a perm again.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that you are
Don't love myself any
right.
less.
It's just fluff. You understand that this
Mm-hmm.
is just hair, and just
Mm-hmm.
like I cut it all off, I can
Grow it
grow it
all
all
back.
back, and I can perm it. I
Yeah.
could dye it purple. I could do
Mm-hmm.
whatever I want to do. These are just, like you said, fluff.
And something that something that like a lot of people will ask, and and I'm glad that you pointed out that it's really more than hair. That was my starting point, but I understand that's not it's not for everybody. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So I don't want it to come off like I have when I say these things, these are for me. My biggest takeaway for everybody is that embrace fully who you are, period.
Right.
That's it. And like, like for instance, people will say like, what's your style? What kind of style are you? And I'm like, I don't really have a style. I don't really have a style at all. Like I'm not preppy, I'm not boho chic, I'm not. It's literally whatever I get up in the morning and I feel moves me. And that may sound kind of hippie-ish now I say it. But whatever moves me, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to buy. I just want to be unique. I want to be original. And if that means that I get a pair of shoes from Walmart, I get a pair of shoes from Walmart. If that means that I get a pair of expensive shoes, that means I get a pair of expensive shoes. Probably most likely not, but I'm just saying, um, don't be looking at me like that. I mean, I do love me a shoe or two, and I do love me. I love me
Probably
a shoe
not.
or two. I do love me a shoe or two. That's not a good example, okay? That,
Probably not.
but I don't be getting outrageous though. I
Yeah.
don't get too outrageous, but I do like what I like, and that's it. I don't. And when you made a comment that being unapologetically you, and I
Hmm.
feel like I had to get there. And if anything, I hate that it took me in my 20s to get there. I wish I could have been able to embrace it in college.
Yeah.
but like I'm unapologetically me. I do not apologize for my country accent. I don't apologize for anything that's me. I can only be me. I tell you all the time, I can only be me. And that's it.
That's it.
Well, anyways, guys, cause I can go on and on about this all day long, but I did used to go upside some people's head with my words, just with my words though, because I'm feisty like that. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's kind of different. You don't hear this in a form of like Christianity and with a biblical self-acceptance. So I hope you guys were able to take some little jewels or nuggets, whatever. And we thank you guys for listening to us. You've been listening to the Soul Sense podcast. This is your hostess with the mostest, Kim, and your trusty wingman, Melvin.
Yep, yep.
And we will catch you next time. Thank you.